All right, guys, it's another day back at the shop here working on Damn Skiffy. As you can see, we've got a plethora of stainless parts here, stainless accessories that we're going to be putting on the boat. And I know that, you know, having the nice heavy duty, fully welded, nice rod holders, it's probably a little overkill, but like I said in the last video, I'm kind of bougie. So, kind of. Anyway, so I went on Amazon because, I mean, Amazon's got everything. And I'll link the descriptions for each one of these. I'll put a link in there for you to go and get the same stuff. So we saw these, they're 15 degree, and we figured the best case that we could do with these is we could mount them in the back seats here, and then two up in the front, you know, sticking out the sides for being able to, when we're fishing down the sides of the boat, have full rods out at one time. We can just sit on the front deck and watch and see what happens. So we got these, and they're the good ones. They've got the rubber inside, they've got a drain, so it's not like we're really worried about running any drain tubes, but we do have all the accessories to be able to do that. And these right here, the collapsibles that we got, we figured it's going to be the best case for these because, you know, you see this thing here, you see it over there, and especially up on the front deck. And not to say that we're clumsy or anything, but we are a little top heavy, and sometimes if you trip on that, you hit your foot on that, you might go over.
So why'd you look at me when you say clumsy? Because I am?
You have been in the water a little bit. You've been in more than me. Anyway, so we got these collapsible cleats here, and you can see that's a hell of a bottom bolt right there. I mean, that is thick stuff. So yeah, that seems a little overkill, but at the same time, you know, it's going to be hidden under the rail, underneath the gunnel there, so we won't ever see it. And we'll put some caps on there to where no salt water can get up in there, and just have it to where we just pull them off every time we use the boat to get any that's gotten down in there out of it. So if we can move on, we got our stainless cup holders here. They're nice. They've got a seal on the bottom. Once again, they got the drains. And this right here, and I put this on my big boat over there on the cobia, the hoo-hoo hunter, we've dubbed it. So we got it's rope. You know, you put your rope through here, you tie off to one side or the other on the cleat, and then you can put this at the very center, and it'll hold the rope there for the anchor. So I used it on that boat for running my trolling wire motoring. Pardon our technical difficulties. I may have had a little bit too much coffee and I fumbled my words. But anyways, back to this. So I used this on my cobia over here. We've dubbed the hoo-hoo hunter, and I use it for the trolling motor wiring. Where I come out of it, it comes across and it goes down through this, goes down through the rope hole for the anchor on the front, and then it goes down through there. Well, it holds this wiring in perfect place. So that's the only reason we had this. And I said, well, I got a second one. Heck, let's just use it on here. So we got that we'll be putting on as well. And we've got, you know, all this stuff to put in. We're gonna get it laid out and we're gonna come back.
Hey, Uncle Si, you ready to get some work done?
Hey, so we've got these laid out here, and we got our cup holders, which obviously it's gonna be real nice here. Be able to set that in and have it sit right here. Now, when we bought this bench, we bought it after purchasing the boat, and it already had this ruler on it. So we're not going to take that off. That's in really good shape. And, you know, we'll check the measurements just to make sure that it hasn't had any shrinkage over time. We're going to have a 9 3/4 mangrove snapper, and we're not going to be legal. We'll make sure we got it. It's the right measurements. But in the meantime, you know, we've got this, each side, it's centered up, this ruler is. So each side we can have our cup holders here. And then we've got our rod holders that we can drill down through. And these are going to be sitting at this angle, but straight out the back. So we can have our rods here. They'll be hanging off the back of the boat. And then the ones up here on the front, they'll be turned out this way a little bit. So they'll be out from the side of the boat. The farther, these back rods, they'll be farther out. These ones will be farther down the side, just a little further out. And hopefully when we're sitting in the channel and doing a little bit of our edge of the channel and doing a little bit of whiting fishing, that we'll be able to sit right there on the front deck and be able to watch all 4 rods at the same time. Now, we got these straps. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to have any interference with the straps and the rods. The front, it's going to be fine. It'll be sticking out the side. We'll be good there. We're not always going to run this bimini top. It is a nice bimini top. In the other video, we had the camera turned the wrong way, so we didn't get to actually show you. And it does have one little small tear. I think it's up there on that front corner, but it's nothing big. You know, that thing, it's almost brand new. So we see nothing wrong with any of the parts and pieces on it. So from there, you know, we've got these collapsible cleats, because when we put them on the front up here, then we can, you know, we can get these to where they collapse down in. And I don't know if you can see that, but they'll be, you know, they'll be sitting down here flush. And the whole reason that we're really concerned about that is having a flush deal is that we go in the intercoastal and we go shrimping and we're constantly throwing a cast net. Well, it's happened once or twice that we, you know, as we're swinging the net around or whatever, you know, it might catch onto the cleat. So we don't want that to happen. So we're going to take these things right here and we're just going to get rid of them. They're junk. So we'll have these in here and we'll have our cup holders up here, same thing. And like I said, these will be facing out the side. They miss everything to do with the bimini top and we'll be good there. Now, back to our little piece here, right? So we were thinking about where we're going to mount the trolling motor. And we found a heck of a deal when I was out of town on this thing. I found it on Facebook Marketplace. The guy wanted $400 for it. I went and got it, picked it up. I couldn't beat it. It's got a remote. It's got everything. Now, the guy, he told me straight up, he says, I don't use breakers. I hook it straight to the battery. So we'll be using breakers. We'll be doing it the right way. And we have this plug that he gave me, and it lucks out that this is the exact same plug that we have on Jeff's boat, so that we can take this thing, and it's got the removable mount here on the bottom, the quick disconnect mount, so we can switch this thing between Damn Skiffy and Jeff's boat. So we were looking at how placement was going to be, and we were thinking, man, it'd be nice to have this thing right in the middle, so that when we're standing up, I'm on this side, he's on that side, that it won't be in the way, and we'll be able to stand there. But as we've thought about it, we're like, are we going to really reuse that cabinet there, the lid? Are we going to reuse that? And if we did, then that would be in the way. So we're sitting there, we're like, all right, well, what are we going to do with that? And then I'm saying, well, I wanted to mount this to the middle. And if we leave it there, we can't even mount that to the middle. So what we've thought is if we move this thing over here to the side a little bit more, then we'll have a lot of room that will be in the middle, and we'll just have this mount here. So say that, you know, we're if we're sitting in a creek and we've got the trolling motor down, we've got all of our rods out, we're not interfering with anything if we want to use the anchor, right? So we'll have this piece. Can you zoom in on that, Jeff? You know, we'll put this piece right here. Now, everybody's got the light that sits on top, and I'm thinking that we're going to go just a little bit extra, and we're going to do the lights that mount right here on the side of the hull, on each side, just to where they're kind of out of the way. And we might not do that. We might do something different. We might get some that mount up here on the side and face forward. But the biggest reason why we need to make sure we're not going to put anything in the way is because when we're out gigging, me and Jeff usually get on the front deck and we use our gigs. They have a 10-foot pole on them, and we use those gigs and we push ourselves along. We will use a trolling motor, but we found that the majority of the time when we use a trolling motor, we find ourselves moving too fast. We're fumbling too much, trying to, you know, we're in a current and trying to work our way around. And if that thing, if we're already cruising, it's just, we get too far ahead of ourselves. So if we're gigging along, like pulling along, you know, it's perfect. So we want to make sure we can still get to the sides of the boat. So once again, this quick disconnect mount is going to come in some real handy work, because when we can take this thing off and set it back down here in the boat, then we won't have it in the way. Now, as for this cooler mount, I'll run around the other side here. Back to these cooler mounts. So we're trying to figure out placement of everything. And we thought about it. We're like, you know, it would be fine to put that there because we could put a, you know, cushion on the top of the cooler lid and sit there. But it's kind of limiting on room, you know. That's quite a bit of room that it takes up sideways, especially if you put like a big Yeti on here. You know, if we're going to go out for a day or three and go camping, we got to have some cooler room. So what our plan is we're going to take these up and we're going to build us something that's going to run this way instead of the cooler running this way. That way it's a little bit skinnier and we got more room to walk around in the boat. this tool I got here, it's actually an AC air duct cutter, and you can adjust the size by your little pinpoint here. It's got a ruler on it. You can adjust the size of this for whichever size. It goes all the way from 2-inch to 12-inch. So whatever you need to cut a round hole, I mean, this thing works perfect in the fiberglass, and you know, if it's got wood behind it, it still works good. You just got to go slow, but it's just a hole cutter is all it is. It's made by Malco. It's called a HC1. So I get them at Home Depot, and they work great for projects like this, because this right here, you know, everything fits like a glove. And you can see we've got our collapsible cleat. Now when we're out and we're trying to throw the cast net, we ain't gonna have to worry about anything being in our way. So off the sides of the boat when we pull it in. So as you can see, we've got our rod here, cup holder here being utilized, and we've got our collapsible cleat. So when we were looking at this, we knew we wanted these to be here so they wouldn't be interrupted, so that if you were sitting here or standing here and you had to get to it quick, you didn't have to fumble over anything else. So rod holder in. But when we decided where we were going to place these, was we wanted to have from the bow chalk right there to this cleat, we wanted to have us a straight shot, uninterrupted. And so no matter which side we bring the rope off of, it's an uninterrupted straight shot, and we can keep our stuff there. We don't have to worry about the rope knocking our drinks over or anything like that. So as you can see, we got all 4 rods in, and the bimini top, we cleared on that side because we angled these rods out. And then you can see the rods in the back, they're inset a little bit, and they shoot straight out the back. So as you can see, I mean, this is going to be a great project. And next weekend, when I get back from being out of town working, we're going to do the fiberglass work. So this wood in here, we noticed that it had a little bit of moisture to it, but it's not rotten by any means. It's good and solid. But we're cutting it out because it's delaminated from the wood. All the fiberglass is. They didn't get enough resin absorbed into the wood, and so it didn't adhere. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these out, and we're gonna put our Nidacore underneath. And we wanted to get all of these things placed into the front deck and into the bench, so that next weekend when we go to do any of our fiberglass work, all we have to do is, you know, make our spot around there, and we can say we're not going to put that Nidacore here. We're just going to reinforce this with some extra fiberglass and just make those nice and strong for us to be able to put screws into. So we're going to get out of here, and if y'all have any kind of comments and you want to share your maybe you got a different line of sight that we haven't looked at and you want to share that, feel free to comment, and if you would, like and subscribe to the video.
There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was Damn Skiffy.